it's all over. It is now.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Review from the Stands. I think it's been 2 weeks since our last episode, so welcome back. Thank you for listening. And how's everyone going? Are we all right?
All good, thank you.
Good. Yeah.
All good. Another week in lockdown.
Yeah, it's eternity now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's becoming the norm, innit? But hopefully soon, 22nd of February, I think it is when the new plans get announced.
I bet he's coming up to half of the time we'd be doing podcasts now, being in lockdown, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
even a year now, isn't it?
I do miss the studio.
Yeah.
I think Boris is changing the three letters again, any of the three words. And he's changing it to are you ready, get tested and go or something. I said that word.
You've made that up.
No, I haven't, honestly.
Sounds like another Spice Girls song, doesn't it?
Connell speaking like a man who's watched too much this morning over the last few days, I think. So today, the main topic we're talking about is football tournaments. Now, I'm sure you listening, or you may have known someone or brothers or sisters might have played in one of these summertime football tournaments. 6-a-side, 5-a-side, 6-a-side.
There was a few, I think, wasn't it? It varied,
go all the way up. So we're going to be talking about the whole experience of playing in a tournament, from the games to the food, to the painstaking way of getting all the way to the final to win a poxy, probably plasticky trophy of some sort.
Sometimes even a medal.
Which was worth your entry fee as a team of paying about 40-50 quid to enter, I suppose. So we'll be going all the way through this and reflect on a few of our own experiences, I imagine, in summer tournaments. So we'll start off with just a basic one. Was everyone fan of the old summer tournament?
Could not beat it. I thought when the sun's shining, you're an energetic teenager, or maybe even younger, and you can't wait to be out there. Just tournaments are brilliant with your mates. 6-a-side, especially when you've been playing 11-a-side all season. The 6-a-side was a bit of fun, wasn't it? And it was a good laugh.
Yeah, I think they were. I remember being as a kid, you'd really look forward to them. Summertime, you'd be asking your manager each week, we entered into this tournament?
Yeah.
Are we going to be entered into this tournament and stuff? So if we get enough numbers and stuff, it'd be good as well if you could if your team could put out 2 teams.
That was always a thing I found. Yeah.
If you could put out 2 teams.
If you're in the team where you didn't see a few of your mates that you want to be playing with, you're a bit disappointed. But when you've got the team you want, you know it's going to be a good tournament from minute one.
That's the thing. What do you do as managers? Would you make a strong team and a weak team, or would you do 2, average? Because say if you play for an 11-a-side team, or maybe even 7-a-side, whatever it used to be before you got to 11-a-side. Would your managers pick 2 average teams, or would they field a strong team and a weak team?
What do you think? I think for me, it was usually we had two fairly strong teams. It was pretty balanced. Yeah, because I think it'd probably been quite obvious to the players, and also probably the parents, who would have been a bit not as thrilled with it.
My dad used to coach me when I was younger, and he despite what he would say, he put a strong team on a weak team, and I think, like I said, I don't think the parents are too happy with it.
Yeah, that's where it gets a bit.
The lad who never plays a game is the
goalkeeper with no arms in goal for the second team.
He's 4 years younger. Why is he playing?
We'll say one thing about summer tournaments. Sunburn for me.
Oh yeah,
dehydration and
Jesus
all that.
Christ.
I mean, you know me quite well. Me and the sun don't get along too well at the best of times. We're acquaintances, but we can't spend too much time together. But I was much more of a winter player, I have to admit. Some of those summer tournaments beat me.
Yeah, it's lucky that the games usually you'd go sometimes where it was a joke. Sorry, some of the games were like 6 minutes a game. How you went to score in 6 minutes? But there was somewhere it was a bit longer, and that was the good thing in summer, because it wasn't as intense as a 90-minute game or whatever. So, but the amount of games that you do play in the day, you're in for a long day, especially if you get through the group stage and get near the knockout stages.
We were saying that despite it could have been 40, you could have been playing on the surface of the sun, but the last game it'll be pissing it down.
Yeah, we've said this. We
it was
this before,
30 odd degrees the whole day. Last game, you're just soaked and
always happens.
It was needed. It was always needed.
You see the clouds start coming over in the semi-final, you think, oh, it's going to be a wet final again, and it just turns horrible in that final, doesn't it?
Yeah,
turns horrible.
Everyone's gone home as well. There's about 10 people watching you.
Then unbelievably, you finish bloody runners up, and you got to wait for the bloody trophy presentations. Get a poxy medal you don't want.
Because I don't know how many times you did it, but there's nothing worse than not getting through the group.
Yeah,
it's happened before, and God, what a waste of a day! You've travelled about an hour and a half to wherever this place was to play. You've played against all these teams that aren't in your league, and you don't know any of the players.
You get home before soccer M's finished.
I don't know. They were obviously a good laugh and stuff, but I suppose away from the football, there was a lot more to the day. I mean, a lot of the day for me was about the food. I mean,
yeah.
Burgers from the burger van, bit of a Mr. Whippy if you've had a 2-game break or something.
Yeah, that was also a problem that I found with trying to manage your meal prep before a game, especially the group stage. You'd have about 4 games in about an hour, and you're thinking, I'm really hungry now because it's come up to about 11:30, 12. You're thinking, should I fit in a sausage roll, a burger, because we've got a 2-game break here, and you want to do it, but you shouldn't. Your dad's telling you, don't do it. You see why your teammates have won. You're thinking, I need to have one.
That's it. As soon as you see one of your mates with an ice cream or a burger, right, I'm having one.
Yeah, that's it.
And then you go, how far are you? Oh, we got knocked out. I've had it for the end of the game. Oh.
Yeah.
You kick off in 10. Shit.
Yeah, that is legit. Someone's walking on the pitch with a burger in their hand still. The centre back just putting the last mouthful in. It's happening.
Always a big problem, that is trying to find people. Like kickoff's about to go, and then it's like, where's so and so? Then we're one short. He's all the way over on the bouncy castle or something, like having a great time. It's like, mate, we're about to kick off.
It. Someone's walking the.
I was told
someone's walking the dog.
Yeah, nightmare.
It was the pitch as well. The pitch numbers. You're on pitch 4. Currently, you're on pitch 72. Half an hour away. That was always a killer. What pitch are we on? Pitch 4. Referee's just waiting for the ball. The other team are already there.
And you never knew
who's playing.
You never knew whether to take all your stuff with you or just keep it there, or like, I was annoying.
And up there with the camping chairs, flasks of tea, sandwiches,
gazebos.
Gazebo up.
Oh, speaking of gazebos, I remember he was playing a windy day. Just gusted all about. Gazebo flew off, hit a kid. He got taken to hospital.
Oh God!
I just see it. He was like, "Oh no, is he dead?"
The gazebo hit the kid.
Yeah, it just flew off. And then there's the dad in the flip flops chasing after it.
Flip flops and jeans.
Yeah, and they're like 10-year-old kid just bored at like centre backs going, "Oh shit, there's a big gazebo."
You'd always get I feel like kids football as well, you'd always have different family members coming, like, I don't know, your normal game, your dad might go and watch. If you had a tournament, your grandparents might go, your cousin comes for the day out, like all these different, everyone's there. You've got the big gazebo. It's brilliant.
It is a massive event, isn't it, really, when a club hosts a tournament with all the stuff there. It's a bit like a festival, isn't it, in terms of a football festival where there's so much to do there for people. Like, even if you're not playing, there's stuff for the brothers and sisters to do. Not really the mums and dad, they're watching the football, but it keeps people occupied.
It just reminds me of a bounty castle. Just go like, it's just all in my head now. Like taking your shoes off, bloody socks pulled up, going down the bounty castle.
Your feet.
Getting like bloody burns on your legs.
Yeah, another thing they put out there as well was the old kick the ball as hard as you can at the like inflatable wall. and see how fast you can kick a ball. And if you get it over a certain speed, you get a free football, which is probably a £5 on Deco. Little crap ball, but yeah, there's some great things they have at festivals that you festivals tournaments that you see, and it's great fun.
You've also obviously got the little photo tent, and at the end of the day, you're going there, seeing if there's a great little action shot of you, maybe that one step over that you pulled. Yeah. I mean, the ball would have gone out the pitch or something, but the photo might have looked good at the time. Or you've nutmegged someone you're open arm. Did you get that on camera or something? So going there, scanning the wall of about 200-300 kids who look exactly the same as everyone else, and everyone's
I think I had one.
Or blue shirts.
I think Mum and Dad bought one at a tournament of me once. Just an action shot one, kicking the ball. One. I think I had that on my wall for years as a kid.
I think everyone's had one, haven't they? Surely everyone's had one before.
Yeah,
I've had a few. I think they had like they have certain like templates as well, and you had like the magazine cover, and you're on the front of it playing. I had that one. But yeah, I used to see the cameraman on the side of the pitch. You thought, I'm going to make a slide tackle right next to him here. You're posing for the camera, just right in front of the person who takes the picture.
I bet you'd be on side.
On one of those, you'll be brave. I mean, summer, those pitches are well hardened. If you go into ground on one of those.
Yeah, oh God, horrible. That was another decision, wasn't it? Whether to wear metal studs or even sometimes even trainers. You got the AstroTurfs out and you thought, I'm going to have to wear these today because this is rock solid, some of the grounds. Rock solid.
We had what's his name? There's a referee from Leeds, like a Premier League referee. I don't know what his name is, but he ref one about Mark something. No, Atkinson, is that someone called
Martin Atkinson?
That's the one. He ref one of our games when I was like 9. Doing all the bloody... Well, you know, we're 9 years old and he's doing all the advantage and everything like that. You're like, come on.
What does that mean?
There you go. Talking of referees, obviously, being one myself, I've refereed at tournaments. Like the ones that we're talking about that we've played at. They're bloody long days when you're reffing, I'm telling you. They used to be such fun playing, but being 17, 18, 19, refereeing these kids' tournaments, and you know, it's when the small-sided games as well, it's just a day of standing on the centre circle. I mean, it's good pay. It was always good pay for these tournaments, but half of it would just be spent at Mr. Whippy. Right. Just refereeing the centre circle with an ice cream. Just
you turn up with a blue mouth to take you to the game. Blue around your lips.
But you'd be there on your own all day, not speak to anyone. Actually, quite sad.
Sad day.
What's the worst abuse you got on a tournament?
Oh, it's funny you say that because it's generally one of the things. All the hundreds of games of referees, this one always sticks in my mind. I gave a decision, I think it was a goal kick, and this old man just burst out laughing. Like, really in your face, over the top, laughing at me. Like, I gave a goal kick, and he was in hysterics, cackling with laughter, right? And I did genuinely lose my head that day. I think that's why it stays on my mind so much. I stopped the game, walked off the pitch, went over to him. So what's so funny? What's so funny about that decision? And he was just coward, wouldn't answer me, just kept laughing.
Oh,
Really, really could have hit him. Like,
what a
you think, I know it'd have all ended in tears, wouldn't it? And glad I didn't, but at the time, just think, I'd love to just smack you. Kids crying everywhere. It was all gone.
Grandad, wake up, Grandad.
It's just this fat old man. Just laughing.
You're worse than that. You're worse than that. The referee for the Ipswich game last night. Who started on a judge.
Yeah. I'd love to know what you said. That is it. Alan Judge, is it?
Alan Judge.
Yeah.
He did go over very like in his face.
He can't be doing that.
No,
that's terrible.
Why not? Bloody players do it.
No, I think fair enough.
No, I'm with you, Connor, mate. I can see why you could say players do it, but it's a ref job to just not get emotionally involved in the game.
The ref
never
has to
see
be
a rugby
professional, but
referee
the other
doing it.
22 players could.
No,
Yeah.
definitely the players. It's poor conduct. But for the referee, it's it is
Yeah.
like for the players, it should be more on them. But I can't have this. Like I know I can see why people are sticking up for the referee because in that moment he's stuck his head in because the players are getting in his face and stuff.
Not
But it happens all the time to refs. It's just part of the job in that you've got to learn to compose yourself. If anything, they should change the law in it that when a player can go in a referee's face and start shouting, that it's more than a bookable. I think that should be a sending off offence.
Mm.
Who was
never
one of the
see
best
rugby. Sorry,
one of the best referees of all time? Go on, mate.
You never see the rugby players, the rugby referees getting any of that. They get abuse and they just stop it straight away.
Yeah, but you never see anyone watching
They're all
rugby.
grammar school boys, those lads.
Well, sorry.
Moving on swiftly.
I was going to say the best referee of all time, Kalina, the bald chap. I mean, he used to thrive off intimidating players, didn't he? Players were scared to.
Yeah, but it's only because his eyes look weird, though.
He'd get in people's faces and tell them, get out my face. Question my decision. I'm the referee. That's how it is. I think fair play to him. I just think fair play to him. Put Alan Judge in his place. Piss off.
Moving on from the colour of referees' eyes, I think Tom.
Easy, Tom.
At that tournament, Tom, I think you might have been the victim of what Harvey mentioned earlier. When they bring all the family members along and they didn't really know what tournament conduct was about. This old man, he hadn't been all season. He thinks he still stood in the bank of the Rotherham home end or something, and he's shouting at the referee there. So I think he forgot his surroundings then. So justice for all tournament referees. What else we got about tournaments? What do people not like about tournaments?
What do I not like? It's probably there are some teams which turn up to the tournament very seriously, and don't get me wrong. At times you have to take it seriously. But they've turned up with corner tactics. There was one, right? I remember it so clearly because it was pure brilliance. It was one. Someone went over to take a corner, and he then walked away from it, but he touched the ball. Obviously, we're about 8 years old, not having a clue. They've run off with it. Ref's seen it. It's a goal. We're just stood there, not ready. Pure brilliance, just corner tactics. I remember that team as well had some player. He had a little rat tail or something, but he was doing rainbow flicks. He was unbelievable.
They're always good. Those players with the
that's what you can do to it. At tournaments, though, you're more likely to have players which don't actually play for you, who are maybe from an academy or something like that. We used to get players in from like academies and that used to play for us in tournaments because it was only a bit of fun, really, wasn't it? It wasn't like you had to sign these players up. So,
I think we had cousins and like maybe a brother who's a year younger, year older, whatever. You just used to get a team together, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There was
go, mate. Go.
There was a tournament I used to play. It was part of school. It was called Pattingham Sixes. So that's where the place where you played was Pattingham, and I guess it was sixes because it was six-a-side.
There we go. We've got that one out.
You know what? I was only just clicked in my head why it was called that.
Oh Jesus, you're joking.
But I was pretty embarrassing, isn't it? Yeah. And it used to be part of like primary school. It wasn't even secondary. And they used to be like 3 or 4 good people in a team. And then you have to have like to make up the rest of the team, you used to have awful players. So you used to have like your best 3 and then just rubbish people at the back. So all the games would be high scoring because you're scoring all the goals and the defenders are rubbish. So he's letting them all in.
And when you mean the defenders weren't so good, you meant you had to sit at the back for them.
Well, yeah, I was doing everything pretty much.
We know you're a goal machine, Connell.
Yeah, I actually got put on the bench for one of them, and then I came on, and made the difference. But
I'm gonna say, Harvey reminded me of a thing I don't like at a tournament. When you beat a team, like there's some good players, and say like one of their best player goes to another team who you're going to play in the next round or so. And, like they gather like a bloody Man City-esque kind of all the best players on the same team. And it's kind of, like they go, he plays for Leeds on the 13s, whatever. And then they'll kind of join together. That's a bit. You get the hey, he's not registered, blah blah blah. One dad would kick off, and it just gets hit up from there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm interested in, Tom. Have you ever had to send someone off at a tournament?
No, I don't think so.
Because I feel
maybe I can't remember it.
We had to send
bookings. I don't know if like bookings because they're such like short and small-sided games.
Yeah.
I think like bookings and that just feel a bit unnecessary. Sometimes.
It's more just the word, isn't it, of the referee saying take him off. Because
Yeah,
that happened with us.
It
was someone. It was in the final. Someone kicked out at someone. It just started getting silly, and the two players who were pissing around both had to go off. So I think it was just like we were playing 6-a-side that day, so it was just 5v5 in the end.
I think they'd probably cry if they got sent off, wouldn't they? If they were young.
Oh yeah, if it was young, yeah. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever cried after losing like a final? I have.
I have. Oh, I missed a penalty.
I missed a wide open goal to draw it. Went off crying.
Bless you.
Yeah.
I remember it was a semi-final, and I had a really good game in the semis. You got to the penalty shootout. I literally couldn't have skied it anymore. I remember hitting a tree. I remember hitting the tree. The absolute tears after that. I tell you. Oh God. That was only last year. I'm joking. That it was. I was about 9. But yeah, that was sad times. Yeah. Eventually makes you stronger.
Your dad's trying to convince you it's not the Champions League final.
It is. I'm going to get bullied at school Monday.
My mate, I'm not going to be mates.
I remember. I can only think of one tournament we actually ever won, and it was one that our club hosted. So that was good. But so when we won the final, that 1-0, and it's just very naive. But I know Schweppes lemonade. Remember our manager bought a load of cans of Schweppes and lemonade from like the Mr. Whippy, and was all just fizzing it up like champagne. And I genuinely thought for years until I was about 16, 17 that Schweppes lemonade was champagne. I was
16, 17.
You are joking.
Schweppes, serious?
It's in the name. Schweppes lemonade.
So I never drank it. Didn't have it. I didn't know. I always thought Schweppes was champagne because of that tournament.
I thought Schlo was red wine until I was like 18.
Talking of drinks, once I had this tournament and you bring your own drinks with you. Like you might have a Lucasade, you might bring your water. For some stupid reason, I persuaded my dad that I wanted Boost energy drink. I brought like 2 litres worth of Boost energy drink for the whole tournament.
No wonder you've skied the penalty. You're off your tits.
No.
different tournament, would you believe? When I got home, my bowels just collapsed.
I'll tell you something about that, actually. I think it was Boost or a similar drink that, like, the cheap, like, knockoff Red Bull ones.
Emerge.
And, so my dad obviously works at a shop, and they were going out a date, so he bought a whole crate of, like, 50 cheap. He said, right, you've got, like, 3 days to drink all these. Oh my God.
Child abuse.
I tried as hard as I could, but oh my God.
Didn't sleep for 3 days.
My stomach was in
You
bits.
painted your toilet bowl.
It was like, we
Dad, I
couldn't
don't
do it.
want
When
any more.
When we were tipping it out at the end, it was just like orange, like the dark orange. It was terrible. Oh, I don't
It's
think I've
child
ever
abuse.
stomach
So
ever
yeah,
been that
I haven't seen my dad for the last 6 years. He's
Big
yeah.
energy drink fan.
Remember those square drinks? Like put a straw through it. It's like blue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
School disco vibes with them.
Yes, those. You get those from the tuck shop, and then
brilliant. Going off the subject. Going off the subject of drinks. Actually, one of our first we went on this crazy run. It was in the newspaper, and we lost our first game in the tournament, our own tournament. Like that was the first loss we had in 64. I think it was 65 games, and it was just the tears after that. The whole team, because you've lost your first game. Literally, the whole team were in tears. It was
Managers
a shambles.
crying.
It was a shambles. But
Was your
great
dad the manager?
not at that time. He wasn't. No, it was
Just
older.
sad.
Yeah, he was. He came in when it was a bad patch. Just stayed with the ship.
Yeah. Is that why you lost your first game? Because he came in.
No,
quiet.
no. He was much later on. That was when we were playing 6-7 aside football, not 11. But have you ever been involved in an 11-a-side tournament?
No. 11 tournaments, you pass out.
No, I think we've got to like 7. I think there's 7. Yeah, I think that's about. Can't think of 11-a-side tournaments.
I've done 11 before. I've done. I don't actually remember when. I remember getting injured. My groin went or something like that. But we did 11.
490.
No, it wasn't. It was like 20-minute games each one.
Right.
But even then, you're playing that, and it's hard work. I can't remember how it ended. Actually, that one. I think we went out pretty early because I can't remember it. So, but interesting to see what that was like. I remember another one as well where we had 11 aside, and it was this goal. We were using the Jubilani balls, and Josh scored this absolute worldie for us. And we all said it was, that's because of the Jubilani ball. That's because if that was no ball, that wouldn't have gone in.
Is that the World Cup ball?
Yeah, the fact is, that's probably the £10 Jubilani ball where it doesn't make a difference how the ball's kicked.
Was it South
Just
Africa?
the design.
World Cup?
Yeah, South Africa, yeah. But we were all saying, that's the Jubilani ball made that go so top bins or whatever.
Here's another one. Something's come to me. Did you used to get the programs for the day?
That'd be brilliant.
You'd turn up, you'd have to pay 50p to park, and you get the program or whatever, and you'd look and you'd see, well, for us Gilway boys, under nines, whatever it would be, and you'd look at who you're playing, the rounds and all that. And when you play a game or whatever, and you come off and you go over to your dad and you go, who's playing now? And he'd go, look, and this is whoever playing.
I forgot about that.
The timing was never right though. It was always like 20 minutes out as well.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm meant to be playing here, but why are they still playing here?
That's a great memory, that one, because you would get it straight away through your car window, get off your dad, have a look. See
who we got.
We've got bloody Pace Panthers.
Yeah, you'd see like your Derby team in the same group. You're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
That was another thing as well.
A bit of
when you played like if you had two teams in a tournament, you played against the other team.
Yeah.
In the tournament, that would be great fun because it would be a bit of a piss around, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But whatever you do, just you have to beat them.
Yeah, you wanted to beat them, but
I just used to love how hectic everything was. Like Jordan said earlier, when you're chasing like someone, where's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy? Like, you can't find. Everyone's just running around. There's no warm ups. It's just straight on the pitch and play.
Shambles.
Everyone's looking at the watches.
Yeah. And you play. Go on, Alex. Sorry,
I'm just saying, has everyone won a tournament?
Oh God, many.
Yeah, I know you have. You know,
64 unbeaten.
Oh God. Right, except from Messi, anyone else won a tournament?
Thank you.
I don't even know I can't remember if I won one. I played in many, but I feel like you would remember if you won a tournament. So I would say I probably didn't win one.
Mm. Anyone else? Tom?
Yeah, won that one that we hosted. That I said earlier. That was a great day. That just remember the final. Little chip lob over the keeper as he came running out. Not me.
Beautiful.
I was at the back. I was at the back watching. Brilliant goal.
You're on the bench going, come on.
Yeah. I was out. I was in the other team, but it was great. We won.
He was in there. Oh, what a goal that!
No, I was a defender on small-sided pitches. I don't know. I was all over the shop. I'd play 1 minute. I'll be in defence. The next minute I'll be put up front.
Positional awareness is nothing in those games, though, is it? Everyone just goes everywhere.
Never went in goal, unfortunately.
I think the worst players at like those tournaments would be the lads who wouldn't pass it, but just want to go because it's small pitches. Get it. They've turned up with their Mercurials on. They've picked the number 7 shirt out of the bag and everything. They think, right, this means I have the right to not pass it to anyone for the rest of the day. And all the lads are getting annoyed and stuff. It's like, you should pass
That's Harvey. It's Harvey.
It's not me.
It's Harvey.
It's not.
He's got like the Ronaldo socks on. Remember when they had like the ankle that went over the socks?
Yeah, you turn up with
name on the boots. Initials.
Just thinking, is there any
You're
point in the rest of the
You're
five
describing me. You're describing me right now.
But you were sponsored by New Balance, mate.
Yeah, I was. We won't go into that. God, that's for another episode. God, we'll do another episode called New Balance sponsorship.
Is anyone Has anyone here had a New Balance sponsorship? Like, it's one of us.
Hang on. I was going to say, corners are an absolute myth in five-a-side. Like, what are you meant to do with them there? Because the pitch is obviously so small, you can't whip it in. You got to just drill it. I think low enough.
When you score an header, there aren't been many. But I remember when someone just lobbed it in. Someone's rose up, bloody salmon.
Not many headers scored, were they, in small-sided pitches as kids?
Not with those Samba goals. No,
it's because you jump and you just jump with your eyes closed.
You jumped with your eyes.
I did as well, mate. Don't worry, I did as well.
I used to see it when I did the film at the Wolves. I did the tournament. Some of the header in and the goalkeepers. The goalkeepers were like 2 foot. They were so small.
Yeah,
you just kick the ball over their head. I saw one funny thing once. That I think it hit off the back of the bar. I hit off the crossbar. Hit the keeper on the back of the head, bounced in, and the keeper looked behind him and then started crying. It was like, oh my God, I wouldn't have let it in.
And that was the last time you played in goal then, Connor?
No.
Another one was, did anyone ever play at a stadium during a tournament? Like, I don't know, at Villa Park, did you ever do a tournament there, or St Andrews?
No.
Not as big as that. No, did like non-league sort of grounds and stuff like Tamworth. Tamworth played on that pitch a few times and stuff, but never like Birmingham City or Wolves or Villa, nothing like that.
I remember going to watch my brother. Can't remember where it was now, but it was somewhere near a Matalan somewhere. But and he went to like an old football stadium and like wooden seats and everything. But I think they lost in the end. But that was probably the only stadium it's ever been to, really.
Did you say Ellen Road, Alex?
Yeah, played at Ellen Road. You had to like pay to. It was like £50 or something like that. But then they didn't get enough people, so we went down to like £10. And my dad was like, might as well.
Yeah.
And then it's so nice, and it just playing on. It's like a carpet, isn't it? And it wasn't even. It wasn't even properly done up. Like you could tell it was a bit worse for wear. And got to the final like that, and got like battered by like another local team, which wasn't nice.
Quality.
Yeah,
that'd be quality. I've never myself. But unbelievably, my sister, she was in like year 6 or something. She's played at St Mary's. Like she has no interest in football whatsoever. But she was in some school team, and I've seen her play at St Mary's Stadium, for God's sake. Like ridiculous. She had like Reeboks on her bloody feet, playing football at St Mary's. Thinking, I couldn't believe I was watching it.
Some people just get all the luck, don't they? You know, in their career.
They do.
If anyone has any other tournament stories or we've missed anything out, let us know, and we can come back. Like I always say, we can come back and cover it along the line if you've got some really good stories. So we're heading into our weekly roundup now, and in a week where, well, we've been away for 2 weeks, but a lot's happening in football at the moment. It's chopping and changing quite a bit at the moment. I suppose we could start with Liverpool, really, because obviously they've been quite a big talking point. They had a disappointing loss in the Premier League at the weekend, but decent win last night in the Champions League. Alex, where do you assess the situation with Liverpool at the moment?
Well, title's definitely gone. Top 4's looking a bit shaky. So, but we looked good last night. Kabak looked decent, so it's nice to have a centre back in. And if hopefully we go through in the Champions League, you never know. We might win. I don't think we'll win it, but you never know, do you? I think Premier League. Good Lord, we need a win. That Leicester game, head was gone. That was off. We were good as well for about 8 minutes. We were good until they scored, and then just collapsed. But I don't know.
Big one.
There's like there's a real almost like there's a mental fragility in there. It seems in the team at the minute. Like you said, as soon as Leicester scored, it was like you were drawing, and then it's like you'd lost the game and you did go on to lose the game. But just watching it, I just felt like Leicester were just going to do exactly what they did. Confidence is such a massive thing in football, in sport.
Exactly. Alisson looks, every time he gets the ball, he looks like he's going to give it away. And then you can see Kabak and Henderson look a bit hesitant to give it to him. But,
what did he look like last night, Alisson? Was he...
He wasn't bad, but he just, again, he looks a bit... He gets the ball and you just think, where's this going? But he had nothing wrong with his saves or anything like that. He didn't have a lot to do, though. I don't think he had that much I can remember, but I mean, I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt, to be fair.
Yeah, the thing is I was saying to my friend the other day, it was like, but even then, say Karius the season with that Champions League final, he hadn't had a bad real. Like,
no, he was all right.
I'm not saying comparing him to Alisson, but keeper's such a fragile. Say someone like Joe Hart, the decline of a keeper can be rapid, like properly rapid. As soon as, and this is like worrying thing for Liverpool. Not saying Alisson will, because I think Alisson's probably the best, not the best, but one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But once you make a mistake in a big, high-profile game, and not one, like two high-profile mistakes, so hard to claw it back, because every time the ball comes and everything, you second-guess yourself. And for keepers, that can be real hard to get away from. Even like a big save, you don't really you don't make it out of that, do you? Sort of thing. So it is worrying, I suppose, for Liverpool with him, because he's, especially when it's one of your reliable players who's making the mistake, someone you think's, and it'd be the same as if it was Van Dijk suddenly started making mistakes at Liverpool. It'd be like, where do you go from there? Because you're not going to drop him, because he's like one of your best players, but also, you don't know what happened. I'm sure it's just a temporary thing, and he'll gain his confidence.
Do you think a lot of pundits seem to say when players are playing poorly, take them out of the limelight, don't they? But I don't suppose you can afford to do that, can you? Really, at the minute,
take Alisson out.
Yeah.
No,
because that Keller has as well, isn't he? So it'd be Adrian coming in.
It's one of those. I mean, he's had what? He had two mistakes against City, and then you could argue that it was Kabak's fault against Leicester, because he wasn't looking. He just looking at the ball, and Alisson's coming out. But for argument's sake, let's say that's Alisson's mistake again. 2 bad games. Like, you can't take him out, because then it's just. You got to stick with him, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like Salah. If he got taken out every bad game, bloody hell, he never get a game.
I was looking at the odds today that Jurgen Klopp's favourite to be sacked. Like, that's crazy, isn't it? You think of how many other teams are under pressure.
Even
Roy Hodgson's up there. Even
if Liverpool were to, and they won't, even if they were to want to change, he's never getting sacked. They would ask him to leave. Ridiculous. They would ask him to leave. But he won't get sacked anyway. But if they were to, they wouldn't straight out sack him. They'd ask him to leave. I think Arsenal did that with Wenger, didn't they? When they wanted him to go, they pretty much forced him, but told him, like, because you want it with like certain things. If you've got a good reputation with a fan base, you're not sacking them. You're not. It happens all the time. They just get asked to leave. Like, oh, do you mind? It's probably best if we part ways now. That's what it would be with Liverpool.
Of course,
it's just lazy journalism.
Of course, there's going to be a drop off, because obviously past 2 seasons have been so high, so good. So you've got to expect.
Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm bored of saying we've got loads of injuries, but we got loads of injuries, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's one of those that, we haven't got a centre back, like a first teamer. Well, like, I know we got some now, but so I wrote this season off, and then next year.
Which is obviously, but then just on a little caveat to that is they lost 7-2 with Van Dijk at the back to Villa. Do you know what I mean? Like, the injuries have played a big part, but do I think Liverpool win in the league anyway? I probably think there was going to be a drop off at some point.
We were top of the league.
A championship winning side. You lost 7. You conceded 7.
We were top of the league.
Van Dijk and stuff at the back.
We were top of the league without Van Dijk. If you saying we've got Van Dijk and Gomez,
I don't think they were winning the league, whatever. I don't think they were winning the league, whatever. But I don't see it, to be honest.
I don't know.
Moving on anyway. Big Champions League night last night, and obviously Mbappe scoring a hat-trick away at Barcelona. It's obviously the word generational has been chucked about him a bit, but he's real top talent, isn't he?
Oh, he's quality. He is absolutely. He's got I think he scored a hat trick in the Champions League earlier than Messi and Ronaldo have both done. I mean, Ronaldo got his when he was about 31 years old, but Messi, I think he's done it a few months before Messi did. So obviously, he's brilliant. But me and Tom were saying yesterday, we've not actually really ever seen him play for PSG. I mean, I saw the Champions League final last year, but I've never really watched him for PSG. I always see him for France. It's always like we said, watched at Monaco when he first came through.
I think with PSG is just a team I don't watch. I don't know why. Just maybe it's because they're always on at the same time as a game I'd rather watch. PSG are a side I've rarely seen much of. Like that Thomas Tuchel, who's at Chelsea now, didn't know anything about him from PSG at all. I'd only really seen Mbappe at Monaco. Remember that good game against Man City they had. And international competitions for Mbappe, and he was bloody good last night, wasn't he? There's a great picture of Messi sort of blurred, and you've just got Mbappe like celebrating in the distance.
Oh yeah,
it's like I don't know what the saying would be.
Changing of the guard.
Something like that. Winds of change. I don't know, something like that. It's quite a powerful picture, really.
I heard.
I'd say what a penalty by Messi. People are saying he's done. Jesus, no!
He's not
three keepers wouldn't save that, would they? Three keepers in the goal.
There's another pitch.
Barcelona are just a bit, obviously in a bad moment. I mean, even looking at their managerial, Ronald Koeman, he was someone. It's mad how he's walked into the Barcelona job when he weren't lighting the world up with Everton, wasn't he? Like a few years ago. Can you imagine if that's what qualifies you to be a Barcelona manager? Massive money troubles as well, obviously. They're really, really skint and stuff. And mainly because of Messi's contract is outrageously high, and he's Messi and you afford him in your team and stuff. But also when he's a 31-year-old guy who's still class, but it's costing you the money that he's costing them. He's basically, it's a weird situation because he's the biggest legend in their history ever, but also, and he's still their best player, but also they kind of need to get rid of him because he could send the club, into a worse situation, which is crazy to be in a really crazy situation to begin with.
Their team, I looked at it last night, it's just a shadow of what Barcelona have been under Pep and, well, in their history, really, since I've been watching them. Braithwaite up front, like,
he was crap at Borough.
That's what I mean, yeah. At Middlesbrough, and some of the other players, I just think this isn't the Barcelona we're used to. That Barcelona team that beat Man United with Messi, and that was wow. And even the one with Suarez and Neymar as well.
It does all come back to the thing that I always say about football. It's like when people panic and go into meltdown too much about football teams being, this is it. You have one bad year and people think it's going to be like that for the next 10 years. It just runs in cycles. Barcelona had a very good 10, 15 years where they've been so good and competitive. But obviously the players who do that for you get old. That's just the way it works, isn't it? And it's
outdated,
hard to go out and replace it and stuff. But you've got older players now, the likes of Piqué and stuff, and Messi and Busquets, and they're all on high wages, older age, and you can't replace them like for like because football changes as well. So whereas now you've got teams like Liverpool, City, Bayern Munich, who then come up, the likes of Real Madrid, Man United, Barcelona is starting to fade away. It just keeps swapping though, isn't it? Like it'd be
one of those. I was just saying, it's one of those. I mean, if you look at City, I think they've planned for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
With City, Barcelona, I mean, they spent 450 or so, 500 million on Dembele, Griezmann, and Coutinho. I mean, if we got 70 million out of Coutinho, I'd have been happy. They spent 130 on it. Like, that's just bad buying, isn't it?
With Liverpool's owners, I think there's a potential that they could go in a similar way where they've not replaced before they need replacing, which City have done. Do you know? I think in that sort of sense, it could get to the point where Liverpool have been so good over the last few years, but they'll all turn to the point where they're 30, just going past 30, and you've kept hold of your best players, but you've not replaced them, and then it's because you've not done it gradually, you're left with 6, 7 players you need to replace rather than 1 or 2. The likes of City are always just replacing before they need replacing. They replaced Aguero ages ago with Jesus. I mean, Jesus not really lightened it up in the way that you would want like a 20, but even this summer, I reckon they'll go in and get a top striker and they would have replaced him again. Do you know what I mean? So it's always that replacing in football, running cycles like that. Like United, I'm sure for us, like for me, I think like as a United fan, I think we're just at the start of turning into a new cycle of football. Like Solskjaer's probably not going to be the guy who takes us to titles and stuff, but he started to change it from where we were sort of in between the Ferguson cycle, just kind of working out where we wanted to be as a club. And now he's sort of, starting to turn the wheel, and it'd probably be 2 years or so and he would have really improved, and which he has, and someone else will come in and probably maybe win the lot with the group of players we have now. But it's just one of these things. I think it's patience. And I think when we get older, I bet all of you are the same. You sort of have to have more patience. Like when you're younger, every defeat feels like the end of the world. That's it. I'm going to go on social media, start shouting, this is it, manager out, players out and stuff. But it's never that bad, is it? Like, do you know what I mean?
You've got to understand that it's not going to happen overnight for you. You've got to give time and patience to a manager. It's hard to start off with. It is hard because you see it and you think there's no real changes here, but they will slowly implement what they want to on the team if they're a good enough manager.
Which I suppose you would have at Forest as well. So he's obviously a very proven manager. It's going to take him time to change the tide. But once he does change the tide, it'll be worth it. And people next season there'll probably be a team that will challenge for playoffs. Again.
You'd hope so, yeah. You'd hope so. Otherwise, I don't think.
People who were criticising him 5 games into his reign at the start of this year will be saying, "Well, God, we did really well to get him there."
Yeah,
it's just been.
And you're not going to like every decision a manager makes, even when he has implemented his style and he's set in what he wants. You're not going to like everything he does, which is fair enough because you might think you'd do something differently. But you've got to understand, you don't have a clue what's going on behind the scenes at a football club in terms of what they're like in training, what they're doing here and there. There's a lot of factors which the fans don't see as well, which is why the manager might make a certain decision.
It happens with all clubs. I mean, even Villa, though, it's like last year they were close to going down. People were saying stuff like Dean Smith, whether he's cut out for it. They come back this season, all right, they might have dropped off over the last few weeks. I don't know, Tom. I think maybe evidence of not rotating the team enough over busy periods and stuff.
I'll definitely say it's what's done us so well this season is now starting to harm us a little bit, keeping the same 11. And I think over recent games, we've looked really tired and leggy, and it's started to affect the performances. But yeah, you're right.
But then you've got the principles there then. And so in the summer, I imagine, you add more squad members. Next season, bearing in mind people kick on, you keep older Grealish, then you start to look like a team you can challenge and stuff, which I think we're in a bit now where there's a few teams like that, say in Everton, got Ancelotti behind them. They've made some good signings. They keep making good signings and stuff. Leicester, if Leicester had squad depth, I genuine belief that if Leicester had a bit of real quality squad depth, they could be a side that wouldn't be that far away from where we are challenging for a title or something, or someone like that, because they can do it. You've seen it in big games and stuff. They can turn they've turned City over this season. They played well against Liverpool, beat them at the weekend. There's not anyone on paper they can't beat. So if you add squad depth to that, then they could be a challenger one. I think this will be really interesting over the next year or two to see whether it was, because I don't think City and Liverpool have pulled. Well, City might because of they're just financial power, but they might pull away from the others a bit more than. But the other teams are sort of coming into their own now a bit, I think. So. Be interesting to see how this season finishes off. I mean, Wolves look like they're going to go down, I reckon, but
I think they should go down. I think they should go down Nuno's coat alone, mate. That is a shocker.
And the assistant has the same coat as him.
They all wear it. All the coats.
It's awful.
It's like a whiskey.
He's got a little bib on top of his coat or something.
Quality. Adidas.
It's like a life jacket.
Lovely.
You've got it, haven't you? You've got it.
I can't find it anywhere, unfortunately.
Oh, right.
He's
It looks nice and warm, doesn't it? Not.
Yeah.
Black and orange.
It might be warm. It might be warm.
You just want it for authenticity when you're sat there playing your Wolves career modes and you stick on the Nuno coat and you feel like
gloves on.
I've stepped into his shoes now.
That would go past your knees, mate.
Like a dress.
Yeah.
You love wearing dresses.
Like Florence Nightingale wearing that.
No, Wolves then, Connell, before we move on.
Well, 2 Southampton fixtures, 1 in the FA Cup, atrocious. I mean, it's basically season over pretty much anyway. Like
Oh, mate.
that was the only thing
no,
we
can't
had
say
left,
that
really.
in February.
There's
No.
always something to play for.
Well,
Even if it's pride.
pride, yeah. Well, no, but the team sheet on the Tuesday when I think it
Thought
was.
you were calling your team shit then.
Yeah,
the
team
sheet on in the FA Cup was pretty embarrassing, really. I mean, it's a game we should have just gone for, especially because obviously you don't know before, but we would have got Bournemouth in the next game. Then if you'd like to think we beat a championship team, then you get to Wembley semi-final. So
I would never get mid-table ties dossing off FA Cup to go compete in mid-table. I think that's just and then there's the same people who moan that the big teams will rotate heavily and stuff. Right, don't take the competition seriously anymore. They don't take most of the mid-table teams don't take it seriously.
I mean, Nuno said after the game that it was to give players time, and he wanted to see three or four in midfield. But and he obviously we won on Sunday, so you'd say it worked, but it was a bit out of cost really because we got nothing to play.
At what cost?
Yeah.
No, but then realistically, you're not going to go down. Realistically, you're not going to go down. Why is an FA Cup like what was it, like 5th round? Why is that less important than a game against Southampton in the league to come mid-table?
Yeah.
Surely the FA Cup game is more important than the league game.
You'd think so.
I don't get this.
Yeah.
I think it's just
where are you, Connell? 10th?
Money, isn't it?
We are
11th.
Let me have a look.
I think you're 11th.
12th, yeah.
12.
2 points behind Leeds if we beat them Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's you've had 2 7th place finishes, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like in the Prem, is that right?
Yeah.
2 7th place finishes. If you finish 12th this season, you know, it's not the end of the world, is it? Like, I know when you finish 7th 2 seasons in a row, you're probably thinking, how can we then break into that, you know, top 5, top 4, whatever. But losing the players that you lost last season, you know, it's no surprise. You could be a lot worse off. You could be, you know, 15th, 16th, really down there.
Compared to last season, United. Compared to last season, we're 4 points off. So, which is crazy.
Not bad. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, if we can get a run going, the way it's going at the moment, we could still finish in 8th. You know what I mean?
It wouldn't surprise me if all
season's not over.
That's what I mean. But I mean,
wouldn't surprise me at all.
But if you win the FA Cup, you get Europa League football.
Yeah.
So it's another route. I just don't understand. But
the best thing about Wolves at the moment is the fact that Neto picks up points on fantasy football, and I've stuck with him for weeks now. Little bargain there at 5.7 million. Great player to watch, but you know when he picks in the points, it feels that little bit extra. And obviously, moving on to fantasy football in the midst of a double game weekish, you know, for a few teams, Man City being the main one. I certainly, you know, I thought I'm going to have to go for it. Gundogan in for Son, captained him. I know it's a bit disappointing that he's obviously missing from the Everton game, but you know, 38 points on a captain.
He's done enough. Yeah,
he's unplayable, isn't he?
He did enough in that one game. Enough.
Have a rest.
So let me just drag up the league. So it's still, you know, Tom's had a few good weeks still. I think, you know, sticking there. So at first, it's I'm still first with 74 points so far this game week, and just over 40 points behind me. Tom's had 81 points this game week, so he's had a strong game week. Behind him, Alex, maybe not so strong this game week, and just over 100 points behind Tom. Harvey's just behind him because he's had a good game week with 82 points. And another name change I've just noticed for Connell.
Yeah, it is.
To be honest, I've actually made I made 3, and then I settled on this one. I had making a meal of it, Emil Heskey, but I had back of the Netto, which I made up myself, which is probably a bit rubbish. And then I settled for crouch potato. So I'm going to stick with
potato. You're just not cutting it, Connell, this year. What's? I don't get what's happened.
Don't know what's
going on.
Something about
fantasy squad. I think you probably over relied on Wolves players earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And, didn't come in and deliver. Looking forward now, so next one has any Leeds assets, particularly Patrick Bamford, obviously.
Southampton as well.
Gets a lot of shouts. Yeah, Southampton have a double game week. Probably only Danny Ings you'd be really favouring for that, really.
Yeah.
They got
especially
Chelsea at
they're a
home.
bit, yeah. It would be. That's what I'm going to be captain probably. Ings, I think it'd be the best bet.
Well, they've got
He's always-
Chelsea and then they got Leeds, so they've got 2 hard games. And apparently,
Yeah.
I didn't realise they won in their last 6 league games.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
they're very in it, I think. So so they'll be ones to watch. I mean, Leeds obviously very good going forward. So attacking contributions for Leeds, I suppose, going
I think I've
forward.
got an add Leeds player after today's games when I see what's happened, and then
Rafinha's a good shout.
Yeah,
really good. Not even people had him as well, did they?
No.
Even at
Noticing there's a dodgy
4-0
game.
down against Arsenal, you still thought they might get back into it, which is mad.
Mm.
The real question is who's going to first bring Josh Madger in? So he got
Tom
2.
Hardy.
Fulham
for Fulham.
Yeah,
have been good.
tempted.
Fulham have got good fixtures coming up. If I can quickly
Tempted.
reel off Fulham, in which their assets could be very good. They've got Sheffield United coming up, Crystal Palace. Then they got Liverpool and City back to back. So ignore that. Leeds, Villa, Wolves coming up after that.
They
So
look
Is
good
he-
going
is he
forwards always, though.
5.5 half.
I don't know. I haven't got him.
You stole that one from me, Connell. I brought that up the other day, mate. So
what's
don't
that?
think old Halfdings is the master over here. I mentioned Josh Manager first, and you know it.
What, after he scored 2 goals in a game? Oh, brilliant that, isn't it? That is genius.
See you later, guys.
Yeah, I think Gundogan's going to be a proper champ for the rest of the season. Little inkling.
I've actually gone with John Stones, weirdly enough.
To be fair, if you look at the fixture difficulty, Liverpool, obviously you get the different colours to rate it. Liverpool have not got a red fixture now until, amazingly, the first...
34, game week 34.
Game week 34 until Liverpool have got like what's considered a really difficult fixture, which is Man
That's
United.
why I got
away,
Mo Salah.
which is
That's
almost impossible.
deceiving, though. We're
think?
shy against the lower teams.
Yeah, true. What about
Brighton, Burnley.
looking ahead? Obviously, Everton this weekend. Do you think could this be Everton's chance to win away at Anfield in front of no fans? But
This is the one.
It's an
Calvin
easy
Lewin, he's
3
be back
points,
for
isn't
it.
it?
Oh, sorry.
I said it's an easy 3 points, I think, for Everton.
Nah,
I mean,
Liverpool
they just
roll
lose
them,
to
I
Fulham
reckon.
at home, but
Yeah, but no
Calvert-Lewin's
Calvert
going to be back.
Calvert-Lewin
He'll be
will be
back.
Liverpool will roll them 4-0 this weekend, I reckon.
I reckon we'll win. I reckon 5 kickoff under the lights.
To be
Calvert
fair,
Lewin,
you should have
back
beat them
post.
last time, really. Like Henderson was never
Yeah.
offside.
Yeah, that
minor.
was a joke. That was a
Yeah.
joke game. That was, and I hate
Mm.
Liverpool, but that was a joke to be honest.
Mm.
I could never get that offside. For me, that's my worst VAR decision. That offside Liverpool got against them was just there was no evidence of it being offside, so I don't know where they got to the decision of that. To be honest, it's awful. Did you see the one in the United West Brom game this weekend with Maguire's when they spent 5 minutes looking at Maguire, but never looked at the fact that he was miles offside anyway?
Yeah.
I think
What are you saying?
I actually looked at. Apparently, there's a rule. It was the foul actually started before he was offside. Apparently, so that's why they carried on looking at it. But
Right.
that's why they didn't give it offside.
No, I'm not having it, mate.
Yeah.
Not listening
Dodgy.
Yeah.
Not
Which
listening
hat
to
did they pull that rule out of?
I know. Do you think it would have been a penalty? Well,
Nah. The thing is, though,
they didn't
this
give
is
it, but
just a quick one before we finish about VAR, because obviously it comes up every week. Ref's given a penalty, like the Maguire one. It's not. I don't think it's a penalty, but it's not clear and obviously not a penalty. So if he thinks that's a penalty, if he's given that as a penalty, surely you can't overrule a decision because you look at it and think, oh, maybe it's not. Like, surely it's got to be, oh, no, he's not touched him at all. It's not a penalty. Like, if he goes to the monitor, then I think this is where there's confusion. I think referees are almost worth not giving it, waiting for the ball to go out of play, and then going over and giving it, because then it gives them the freedom. Rather than giving it, I think it puts a lot more pressure on them to undo mistakes, to be honest. But
if he did think it was clear and obvious, then you mean like
thing is, at the end of the day, it's not a VAR problem. It's just incompetent referees. That's what it is. VAR isn't. You can obviously see. I'm go to Leicester. Marty, they touched his t-shirt there, not on the edge of his t-shirt, so should have been offside. But I've let it go.
To be honest, I'm not overly screaming about decisions because at the end of the day, United should be going to beat West Brom anyway. And we've had decisions for us. I said ages ago, I can't go back on my word. I think probably said a while ago on the podcast, these go for, they go against you. You'll get some, you won't get some. So there's no point crying about it because it goes the season, it roughly evens itself out. So there's no point being, it's a joke. VAR screwed us out of win against West Brom. Even when like the Sheffield United game the other week when we should have been 1-0 up technically, but playing Sheffield United at home, we shouldn't be having to rely on VAR decisions to go our way to beat them. So it's a bit of a joke, to be honest, but we'll move on and we'll bring it to an end there before VAR sours the conversation. Thank you if you've made it through this far. Remember to follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, and have I named them all?
Apple Podcasts.
I feel like, and Apple Podcasts. There's always one you forget, isn't there?
They're all here.
You forget.
Leave us a 5-star review.
Leave us because we're very good at this. If I say so, we might be a bit biased at this, but it's very good. So I can't think there's any podcast better out on the market. So if you like good podcasts, you'll like this.
None are called A View from the Stands, anyway.
Yeah. Before that's the last little word. We are the original and only A View from the Stands podcast.
We see you.
We're coming for you.
Come on.
The copywriting has
anybody
been
can live stream.
Yeah.
This was an original concept and original name come up with.
Wow.
So thank you if you've listened this far. Make sure you get in contact with us and cheers, up the pod.
Up the pod.
Stay safe.
And in comes Hurst. He's got some dribbler on the pitch. They think it's all over. It gets now.